On the 11th of March 2011, Japan experienced a powerful earthquake causing the formation of a tsunami which devastated the northeast coast of Japan. The Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant was subjected to the ferocity of the ensuing tsunami and was consequently inundated, setting about a series of systematic failures resulting in the thermal runaway and radioactive explosions that crippled the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant and bellowed plumes of radioactive particulates into the atmosphere, and of more concern, released thousands of tons of radioactive cooling water into the Pacific Ocean. A major concern in the colossal release of radioactive water into the Pacific Ocean is the bioaccumulating nature of iodine-131, cesium-137 and cesium-134, all of which are radioactive isotopes, and their effects on the seafood-rich diet of the Japanese population. Whilst marine ecology displays relative resilience to radiological effects, humans, however, are significantly vulnerable to negative health outcomes when exposed with iodine-131 inducing thyroid cancer and cesium-134-137 increasing soft tissue cancer risk. According to the World Health Organization, the major health risk posed by Fukushima is the prevalence of cancer growth, especially if exposed as an infant. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations Statistic Database details that in 2009, Japan consumed just under 7.2 million tons of fish and seafood, equating to 56.6 kilos per capita per year, which is substantially higher than Australia's 24.9 kilos per capita per year. How this raises concerns in regards to human health post-Fukushima lies in the bioaccumulation of radioactive particulates in marine organisms, ultimately entering the human body via the food chain. Whilst the Japanese seafood market comprises of various ranges in fish species, crustaceans and seaweed, two specific species have been identified to pose the highest risk, not purely based on radioactive concentration, but also due to the frequency of consumption. This being the Pacific bluefin tuna and nori, the edible seaweed extensively used in sushi rolls. Japan's Organization for the Promotion of Responsible Tuna Fisheries identifies Japan as the world's largest consumer of tuna, with Japan consuming 1.97 million tons of tuna in 2009, compared to the combined world's consumption of 1.4 million tons. The Pacific bluefin tuna is one species that is extensively consumed in Japan and is highly valued for its sashimi. Being a predatory fish, the Pacific bluefin tuna absorbs radiation through the ingestion of smaller fish, which feed off plankton, with the plankton being the immediate consumer of the radioactive particulates. With little to no natural predators aside from humans, radioactive cesium-134 and 137, both with a half-life of 30.1 years, continue to accumulate within the fish until it is captured for human consumption. Whilst concentrations in individual fish may register as safe for consumption by regulatory standards, when considering the levels of consumption by the Japanese populace, it raises concerns in terms of chronic health outcomes. Nori, like all other seaweeds, contains the ability to concentrate iodine from seawater, with some species capable of containing concentration levels 10,000 times greater than the seawater in which it resides. The immediate threat posed here is the iodine-131 absorption by the seaweed, and once harvested for human consumption, may contain residual traces of radioactive iodine. It should be noted, however, that iodine-131, though highly dangerous to humans, contains a half-life of only 8 days. Thus, if harvesting is postponed for a reasonable period of time, this will significantly reduce the risk of adverse health impact through nori consumption. Despite the immense release of radioactive water into the Pacific, lead researcher Ken Vasella argues that after conducting marine biota research off the coast of Japan, although obtaining results of elevated cesium 10 to 1,000 times greater than prior levels, risk to public health should not be of concern as the radionuclides registered below levels considered harmful to human consumers. Even with these results in mind, again when considering the risk of radiation accumulation is heavily influenced by frequency of exposure, not just the concentration, it would probably be safer to reconsider the bluefin tuna sushi roll for lunch.